Hey, and welcome to Kristi's Cropping and Creating. I am Kristi Boland, and I'm just going to jump right into the things that I have to show you and tell you because I'm not quite sure how long this layout will take. I did do a little bit of prep work because I knew that this one portion of the layout was going to take a little bit. But I'm Kristi Boland. I live in South Carolina, and I love being a Creative Memories advisor. One of the things that I want to mention to you is this awesome haunted house cover set is only available until Tuesday at noon Central. It just became available yesterday. If you love Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, if you've visited that a few times, or if you're just one of those people that loves Halloween or this season, go grab it while you can. Also, I started picking out the things for today's layout on Tuesday. It's been one of those weeks where I just couldn't get everything together, couldn't get it done in time for it to air on Thursday. But I started picking things out on Tuesday, and then I'm not 100% sure what Noreen did in her Fast and Fun on Wednesday because I didn't get to watch it and I haven't gotten to go back to see. But I did notice that the collection that I'm using today is on sale now. I am using Polar Lights, and you'll be able to see more of it in a minute. I keep my collections in a project folder. You can get all the decorative components of the collection, the variety mats, the borders. I think it includes the flocked laser cut borders, and I know it includes the sticker pack and the paper pack. So you can get all of those things not included in the folder. You don't get the folder with it, but you can get a pack of project folders. Power project folders is what they're called. They come in a pack of 4 for $20. But that entire Polar Lights collection is on sale for $39. It would be $50 if it were full price. And if you don't want the whole collection, if you only want the paper pack, you can get the paper pack for $8 instead of 10. The mats are $8 instead of 10. The sticker pack is $7 instead of $9. And I don't know the other prices of the other things, but either way, $39 for the entire collection. And it's a really great collection. You can use it on winter layouts. You can use it for if you've done an Alaskan cruise. I'm sure it could come in handy. If you live in a cold climate, I'm certain it can come in handy. So anyway, go grab those things while you can, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So let me get switched to my desktop. Okay, so I wanted to do a layout from the 101 Scrapbooking Ideas and Sketches book. It was a book that some of us earned free really recently. If you don't have one, check with your advisor, or if you want to contact me to see if I have one that you could earn, please do so. It also has 3 fast formulas at the back. Let me point that out. I am doing the layout on page 104, and I had picked it out and I had decided to use this because I think I can use this with some pictures that I'm about to do in my own personal scrapbook coming up. And in the book and on the blog, it is a layout using the Lullaby Lane collection, which was our baby collection from 2022. So what caught my eye is, first of all, you could keep your decorative elements in the square shape, or you could turn your squares into these diamonds. I know it's not exactly a diamond, but I'm going to call it a diamond or a sparkler or whatever. So I liked that. And I did try to figure this out. I ended up digging through the blog, and I'll tell you about that in just a moment, to find out what blog post it was from. And sure enough, the blog post has us using the smallest circle from the custom cutting system and your red blade. And I am going to show you how to do it. I will warn you that you probably will want to practice on some scrap paper. This is just scraps. And actually it's scraps from an insert from one of our paper packs. So practice on some scraps so that you can get it right. Also, the blog says that you can do 2 or 3 at a time. At first I was afraid to try it, and then I tried it with just doing 2 at a time, since basically I was going to be cutting out 2 colors at the same time. And I will point out some tips for you when I cut my last set, when we get to that point of the layout. And I will tell you also that I tried using our square punch and our circle punch. Apparently, I did not save the sample that I had cut from using those 2 punches. You might could make it work if your if your square were bigger than the recommended 2 inches. The circle punch is 1 3/4 inch diameter, and the 2-inch square, well, it's actually not a 2-inch square either. It's a 1 3/4 inch square punch. So anyway, I just needed my proportions to be bigger because it came out looking too much. It was cutting out too much instead of it just barely dipping right here. So I haven't been able to figure that out, but I am going to show you how we can use this, and you can make it happen fairly quickly. I cut out these pretty fast. I just knew that y'all probably didn't want to sit here and watch me cut them all out, since you do have to do all 4 sides. And then also, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I tend to ramble because I am a talker. So let me tell you where the blog post is so that you can find that if you want to. And let me also point out too, though, that this sketchbook does have the measurements. So you can do it just from looking at the sketch and figuring it out, or you can go to the blog post, and it was posted on January 18th, 2022, and I was able to find it easily. I'm not going to be able to show you where I typed it in, I don't think. Somewhere where, oh, here it is, categories. On the blogs, when I looked in the category of baby, and I did have to make it show me more because it was not, at first it was not pulling this one up, but I did end up finding it in the blog post. And so just dig a little bit deeper if you need to. Okay, so I am going to use, we're just going to dive in now. These 2 papers are going to be my base. So this, I'm not going to do any cutting on these 2. This is just going to be my base. And then the next step, I need to choose a paper. I'm trying to figure out the best way to go back and forth to be this dark strip right here. And it's also going to be over here. I think that's the first one I'm going to cut. It is. So I'm going to grab my trimmer, and that paper for me is going to be this one, which is similar to that other one, but that's just by happenstance. I wasn't definitely trying to find one that was similar. It's just the way I'm using this collection, this is what's going to work. And the back of this paper is like the this could be used on holiday layouts too, because it's just like a all over pine needle, pine branch. Maybe that's a better way to say it, pine branch. So this first cut is going to be at 1.5 inches by 12. So I'm going to use my measurements over here on the right at the 1.5. I'm going to make that cut. Put that to the side. And then the next one that I'm going to use on the other page is going to be at 4 5/16 of an inch. So let's see here, 4 5/16. So to get to the 5/16, I'm looking at my cheat down here, and of course my eyes are not going to quickly help me. but oh my goodness, I didn't know. I should have practiced this part ahead of time because I did not realize I was going to have a hard time seeing it. My eyes aren't usually blurry like this, but of course they are today. So 5/16 is one click, one of the little clicks past the quarter. So here, I'm not going to be able to point this out either, I bet. So there's my 1/4 inch, and you see how I've got a little tiny click and then a little bit of a longer click. The 5/16 is that little one, because the other one would be I guess an 1/8 of an inch mark. Let me look at that again too. Yeah, that would be 3/8. So I'm going to go to the one click past the quarter and one click short of the 3/8. So 4 and 5/16 by 12. That's going to go on that other page. And then let's follow along. What does it say to do next? Ah, okay. I tell you what, I'm going to cut my pieces before I go back to adhere things, or at least I'm going to try to. So this next strip is going to be 5 and 5/16. And once again, I got to look. So that would be, I'm double checking something. 5 and 5/16. Oh, okay, because the first one was 4 and 5/16. So again, go one click past your 1/4 inch mark. And this is going to go, I forget where it's going to go, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. And I'm cutting it from the same paper once again. I'm not sure yet if this is going to be scrap or not, but go ahead and cut that. And then the next step I need to do is cut 10 2-inch pieces. So that's the pieces that are, you're going to start with 2-inch squares. And I chose, let's see, how many papers did I choose? And I've already put them away. Let's see, I chose, I think it was 4 papers. No. That can't be right. Well, we're gonna have to figure this out really quickly. Let's see, that's the same as that. So that would be 1 paper. This is the same as that. 2 papers, 3 papers. I chose 3 papers. I used 2 sides of 2 of them and only 1 side of the 3rd paper, because you're going to need 10 total 2-inch squares. So I made a 2-inch cut, and then I cut the 2-inch by 12-inch strips into 2-inch squares, except for when I got enough, I stopped cutting. But like I said, I've already filed away my leftovers. Here's my leftovers. I didn't think about the fact that I had my folder sitting right behind me. So this is what I had left over, plus these 2 squares. And I literally cut the strips and then I stacked them so I could cut them all at the same time to save me some time. And then I went to the next step, which is turning the square into a diamond. So I'm going to show you how to do that, hopefully easily and quickly. Okay, stack your squares together. Again, you need to practice on scrap paper first. And you're going to put your circle, find the plastic gripper that's on the bottom. Find that and put that on the edge too to help you hold it. But you are literally lining this up to where you're only going to be cutting a little sliver off of your square. I started to say circle and I knew that wasn't right. So you want to line it so that hopefully your blade is going to go from point to point. And Also, when you start, make sure your pegs are in the track and start on the square like this instead of starting off of it and coming onto it. Use your left hand or your right hand if you're left-handed, but I'm right-handed, so I'm using my right hand to cut. I'm gonna hold it with my left hand. I'm using my wrist to also hold down that circle. I'm gonna start cutting on the squares and pull away down off. Then I'm gonna go back up and go to the other side. And then this is gonna come off. So you have this nice little sliver that is cut out of your square that's going to give it that sparkly look. So I found it easier also to go to opposite sides of the square. It probably does not really make a difference. It's probably more of my imagination that it makes it easier, but you are going to have to cut all 4 sides of your squares to get these little slivers off. And as you cut, it does get smaller because you're probably not going to be cutting. I'm going to try to show you with this one. You're probably not going to be cutting exactly into the point. See how that point right there is kind of squared off a little bit? So, you know, I'm not doing it absolutely perfectly, but I did also learn when I was trying to do this ahead of time that the practice helped. And then also, it's not going to matter if it's not 100% perfect. Now, I did make a sample that, again, I threw away that it really was off kilter. It looked like it was kind of leaning sideways or something. So for the most part though, after I did 1 or 2, I was able to get it pretty easily, and I think you will be able to too, especially if you do like I said and use your hand to hold the pieces still as you cut. And then there, I'm now finished because I had already done my other ones ahead of time. So let me wipe this into the trash can, put this aside, and then let me see what the next step is before we start adhering everything down. All right, so after this, I have mats to cut and measure and all that. So instead of working on that now, I am going to go ahead and start adhering things together. And then we'll have to just take our trimmer back out when it's time to cut our mats. So let me see here. Where everything goes. I don't remember right off the top of my head if this wider piece is going to go on the left or if the wider piece is going to go on the right. I know these diamond pieces are going to go along through here. Oh, I just realized it's slightly off kilter. Hopefully that didn't mess up too much. All right, so let me see one more thing. Oh, I just saw a step I missed. I had scrolled down too far, and so I missed a step. Let's definitely pull our trimmer back out. And that's what my other piece of paper was here for. And I'm not sure right now if I'm going to use this side of the paper or if I'm going to use this side of the paper. Both will work with what I'm going to use the finished layouts for, and I think both will work with the colors that I chose for my diamonds. The only reason it would matter for me to know ahead of time is if I'm going to use this side, then the waves are going this way if I cut it this way. But if I want them going this way, then I need to cut it this way. And see, the back is the opposite or actually it's not the opposite. I was thinking that it was opposite. So both of them, my little wavies, are going horizontally if I cut it that way. So I just have to know which way I'm going to use it if I want the waves to go horizontal or if I want them to go vertical. I'm going to have them go horizontal, and this cut needs to be at 6 inches by 11¼ inches. So I'm going to cut mine down to 11¼ before I do the vertical cut. And so I'm cutting a 3/4 inch piece off the bottom because my finished piece needs to be 11¼ So I'm going to cut that off the bottom, and then I'm going to cut the thing in half at 6 inches. So now I've got 6 by 11¼ I know that one goes on one side and one goes on the other. I just don't know which way. And again, I feel like I need to start adhering things. The directions did have you adhering things as they went, but I wasn't doing that to start with. All right, so this piece goes over here, the first strip that we cut, and oh, that doesn't make sense. Oh man, I just realized I cut one of my papers. One of my papers that I had picked out, I cut wrong. Darn. So this was supposed to have this next to it, and I didn't read correctly because I was trying to hurry. So I'm not going to worry about that part right now. I'm just going to go ahead and start adhering this. And when you are looking at the sketch, you will see that there is a paper that is supposed to go next to this strip that I'm putting down. And the reason I can't use the one that I did cut is because the two papers that I cut are the exact same. I will use this paper elsewhere on the layout, but I was supposed to have one out to use next to this. And my goodness, apparently I can't get that straight. So let me start all over trying to lay this down. This is what happens sometimes when you're hurrying along. And if you've never watched my videos before, you will also see that I do not do a lot of editing. I just let you see the mistakes I make as I go, and then I worry about fixing them, or I don't worry about fixing them because I'm not a perfectionist. And so I just move right along and worry about that later. I could get out another piece of paper that these diamonds are going to lay on, but since it's really not the end of the world, I'm just not gonna do one. You're supposed to have a piece of paper right here that's 4 5/16 of an inch by 12, and it would just give more contrast to the page. But since I didn't cut it right, I'm just going to start laying these pieces down. Scratch that. I'm not going to lay my diamonds down yet. I'm going to come over here to this piece. I did cut it correctly. And it's the bigger of the two pieces that I cut, the 5 5/16 by 12. And I'm going to put it on this outside edge of my right hand page. You know, one of the things that I've talked about in some of my other videos is how you can adapt things to make it work for you. And it might be accidental that this was an adaptation, But you know, this is an accidental adaptation to not use that piece that's layered here. As far as I can tell, in quickly looking, that's the only place that that one piece was used on the sample layout. So I'm just going to go with it that way, and oh well. I'm trying to look ahead in my instructions but not miss a step, so give me just 1 second. Let's see. So the next thing, these pieces are going to go, they're going to be, you know, centered on the inside edge of each page. And here is where I do need to decide, do I want to use this side or do I want to use this side? And in helping me to make that decision, I'm going to lay these out and to see if it matters, you know, which one I want to use. I know that I'm going to want to be alternating the way my my pattern goes here. So I'm going to pull this over so I can see how they did. They have one that's going off the edge at the top up here like this, and then they had the next one, and then the next, and then what color have I not used yet? I can go to this color. So you alternate your patterns and your colors, and then once you have alternated all the way through, then let's see, how did they do that next? Okay, this one should go there, I think, and then back to this, this, and this. So I can just kind of play with the spacing of this. I'm gonna reread my instructions in just a moment to see if there is a suggestion for how I place them. And but knowing that this is the probable way I'm gonna have my diamonds arranged, I need to decide which side I like better. And that was a really easy decision for me. I'm definitely going to stick with this side. I do like the teal color of this, but I'm just going to stick with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Huh? Why am I only ending up with 9? Oh, because I don't have them spaced as close. That's why. So the tips of each of the little diamonds are practically touching. So let me push these up and see if I need to do this another way. Oh, well, that's another thing. This one, well, I can't do those two side by side. Oh, that's because it needs to be on the polar bear side, not the other side. Okay, so that's how, and once I get these adhered, I will cut off the excess, of course, from the pieces that are hanging off the edge of the pages. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I did decide to put this one down, and so my adhesive is going to go on the back. And I will center this as best as I can on my layout, which means that it's about, well, I don't know those measurements. It's 1 click above the 1/2 inch mark and 1 click below the 1/2 inch mark. I know that has real measurements, and you math people probably know what they are, but I don't. So and obviously I've already had a hard time reading my reading my cheat sheet that's posted on my trimmer, so I'm just not going to worry about that. Okay, now I will start putting my little diamonds down. And I didn't go back and read to see what it said about spacing them, but I'm just gonna do what I do. Technically, I should have a sticker strip. Oops, I moved everything. I should have a sticker strip that's hiding the seam of that paper that I didn't use. And again, I touched on a little bit of the fact that you can make a variation of a sketch, just make it work for you. So this is how it's going to work for me. I won't be putting a sticker strip on here. I do think I went a little too far inside of that. So let me come back over to my right hand edge here. I think it's because some of these little diamonds are a little bit off kilter. They're not perfectly, the points of them aren't perfectly straight up and down, but at the same time, that's okay too, because like I said, it doesn't have to be completely perfect for it to work. All right, I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. So it'll be like the point almost touches the one above it, and then the point that goes to the left will be in the same vicinity as where these points are touching. I know that's probably hard to see. I'll hold it up to the camera once I get some more pieces adhered. You're probably not working to do this layout right alongside me anyway. You're probably watching and then you'll try it later if you're going to try it. So I'll show you in just a second what I mean. I also found, for me personally, these papers that are somewhat directional, like the one I'm putting adhesive on right now, the polar bear side, the polar bear and iceberg side, and then this piece, which is technically a lot of trees, and then this that is a scarf looking, sweater looking paper, you know, that either has vertical or horizontal stripes. It doesn't bother me that they're turned sideways. So what I'm trying to say is I think that you can use papers that are directional if it's not so obvious that it's going to be turned to the side a little bit once you put it on the layout. So here's what I mean about this point will almost meet where these 2 points are. And then I'll show you again. Let me show you on this one that has a lot of contrast. So the point from this square or this diamond is almost touching where those 2 points come together. They're not quite touching, they're just almost touching. And then this point is almost touching the point above it. So that's how I put those on. And I have found, you've probably seen in another video, whether it's from me or another advisor, when you turn a paper over, when you've got things hanging off the edge, if you turn it over, it just makes it really easy to cut off that excess. And as you can see, this paper that I'm using for my base was one of those cut apart pages. So, you know, I could have cut apart these pieces to use as borders on a layout. I actually did make a set of borders out of this cut apart page last year when this paper pack came out. It's a pretty cool border set. Okay, so here is where we are right now. I love the look of the diamonds going up and down, and then of course here's my my places. Now we need to cut our photo mats, and I did not pick out any variety mats ahead of time. You can use some variety mats in a few places, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the photos in the sizes that it shows. Well, I'm going to cut photo mats in the sizes that it shows. And then I know that like here they made a 6x4 mat, or they used a variety mat to go behind what they were doing. So you can, make more mats for your photos, or just use the background paper as your photo mat, which I guess is essentially what I'm going to be doing since I'm going to cut this in the sizes that it recommends. So my paper for my photo mats is white shimmer. And of course, if I were using one of the variety photo mats, or if I were using another decorative paper, it would give it a little more punch than just the white, but I knew this white shimmer would look good with this layout. So that's another reason that I'm choosing to do that. So my first two photos are going to be 2 3/16 of an inch by 3.5 inches. And I am going to cut my paper at 3.5, and then I will make my cuts at 2 3/16 after that. At least I hope I will. Because it may be that I end up making them, well, no, they're not directional. Never mind. Okay, so 13/16 is 1 click past your 3/4 inch mark and 1 click before the 7/8 of an inch. So 1, 2, and I need 4 of them because I need 2 on the top of the left-hand page and 2 on the bottom of the right-hand page. 3, I couldn't get that to stay. 4. Now I got a little scrap here. So these two will be up here kind of like that. I'll put the adhesive on in a minute. And these will go down here like this. I need a 6x4, another 6x4, and then I need a 5 3/4 by 3.5. Actually, I need 2 of those. And then I need one that's another size. Let me cut my 5 3/4 by 3.5. I'm going to cut it first. So I'll make this cut also at 3.5 inches. And I'll be able to get those 2 mats out of this. So that is the 3.5. I'll turn it to the side and go to 5 3/4. Oh, I do need to pull my arm out for 5 3/4. So 1, 2. That should leave me a 1/2 inch little sliver left over. 5 3/4 goes to the top up there and at the bottom down here. And then that last piece, or so far the last piece, is 4 inches by 5 1/4 for the photo. It actually has another mat though behind the photo right here, and then also right here. And those mats, so that's that piece. 4.5 by 5 3/4. So let me pick this up so I can show you. So it's saying that this background pink piece right here is 4.5 by 5 3/4, but yet and then so is this base one down here, but then the picture on it is 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut this at 4 inches so that it can represent my photo. Since I said I was making my photo mats out of this. And so 4 by 5 1/4. And then the last thing I'm going to try to do, if I can do it quickly enough, is pull out some decorative photo mats from my variety mats to go here, here, and here. Well, actually 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would need to cut this top one down a little bit. And I would need to cut this one down a little bit. If I can't make a decision quickly, though, I really don't know how long I've been recording. I will not continue to tape because I don't want y'all to be sitting there thinking she just needs to be done already. Let's see. There's nobody like you. I like that. That might go with what I'm wanting to do with this layout. Except what I don't like about it is how light that background is. But I might go with that. Let's see. I just wanted to flip through really quickly. Frosty Friends. Well, no, it won't work because of the width of it. You know what? I'm looking at the small mats. I need to be looking at the larger ones since I'm going to need to cut them down, because the ones I was looking at are only 4 inches. And I can't get it. Okay, there we go. I started to say I can't get them out of the package. I do need another 6 by 4 there though, so I might have to go back to that after all. No. That might work. No, it's too dark on the dark. That could work. Okay. I'm going to try one more thing. I know I said I wouldn't keep going if I couldn't decide, but since I need one more 6 by 4 here, this could be on there and have another photo, maybe. So many of the smaller ones in this case have words on them, and it's okay to cover the words, but I don't necessarily like, if I were covering the words with a photo, I don't necessarily like what I see for the outline either. So I'm just going to stick with that for now. And this one here, I'm going to cut down to 4.5 by 5 3/4. Oh, phooey. I still needed one more for down here too. Well, I'm not going to do another one for the bottom. But I will cut this one. Cut this one down 4 1/2 by 5 3/4, and it's already 4 1/2. So I just need to trim the length of it to 5 3/4. And then stick these babies down, and I'm ready to go. I will kind of center that on there. And then, and of course I went crooked right as I was sticking it down. But just remember that that this serves as a photo mat. So my actual photo will be covering more of that than what, you know, it's not just going to be the outside decorative element. And this serves as the size of my photo unless I choose to cut my photo for that white to show otherwise. So I don't know why I just flipped this over. It didn't matter if I had it on the white side or the white side. I have a bad habit of doing that. And for these, you just come just inside, you know, to leave a little bit of a border. That's probably about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Actually, I shouldn't have come in quite so much on this one. So let me fix it to make them a little bit more even. And I have, gosh, I keep going crooked right as I start to commit to it. I do know that if I will adhere my top and bottom first, it makes it easier to put the middle one in the middle. So I'm gonna put this down since I did my bottom two. And then I will put this down. And I'm gonna have it right at the edge of my inside edge of my paper and the outside edge of this, and then also meeting the bottom of this picture and the tops of these pictures. That is what the layout also shows. So I will not be, just like I do on most of my videos, I'm not going to be putting embellishments down right now, and I'm not going to be putting you know, other stickers and things on here. You can check out the blog or the sketchbook to see what they used. The main reason I'm not doing it right now is because I want to have my photos on the layout before I embellish, because sometimes I don't want part of a sticker to be covered, and sometimes I don't want part of a picture to be covered. So I like doing embellishments, including stickers and those kinds of things, after the fact. So y'all just have to bear with me on that. Plus, honestly, I would just try to copy what somebody else did anyway. So putting this on here, and technically, well, for me, this is finished except for my actual photos. So don't forget, go grab your polar lights in the deals category on the website. It's deals and then sale, SALE. If you don't have an advisor that you shop with, you can shop with me at creativememories.com/user/KRISTIBOLIN. My email address, if you have questions or suggestions, If you want to request to be in my weekly subscription group, you can email me at kristibollin@gmail.com and ask to be in Kristi's Kroppers subscription group. If you want to do that, otherwise, let me know if you need anything, if you need any help with anything. And I hope that y'all enjoyed this. Hopefully, I will be back to my regular schedule, which is typically to air on Thursdays. And I'll see you next week, I hope. Don't forget to subscribe too, because I will be doing a drawing when I reach 500 subscribers. I'm closer and closer each week, almost each day. All right, y'all take care. Have a good rest of the weekend.